HaShana?
There you go.
Good.
It's doing well.
Good. Good.
Took him 8 hours to get from Fisher's Yeshiva to Aish.
Yeah, makes sense.
They were supposed to be like a class for Woodmere, and then they were like,
My daughter was in the caretaker job, and then it took forever to get that first one. They weren't even supposed to, I think, but whatever. Right. It's just amazing how you see. I mean, this is obviously like crazy things I'm not good at, right? But not good at is also tremendous. And the energy. That's what I love watching this. It's just like the best. But you have a job to do. You have a job to do.
Because I don't watch the news, there's less snowstorm coming. Totally. I like found it like the day before. Like, exactly right
I
now.
watch the weather, man.
I don't watch it.
Your wife watches the weather. You know what? It's better that way. In the long run, you win.
Yeah, of course.
The people don't get it. Maybe we'll talk about that today. It was a little bit connected to last week. Okay. Just a regular old Sunday, yeah?
Yeah.
Pretty simple, pretty mundane. Nice to go.
You need to go.
Oi! Okay. Sorry, I'm late. Okay. Gewalt. It's Purim a little early this year, yeah? A real Lamaisa Purim, Baruch Hashem. But a person always, we've been, I think, in our limudim, we learn through Bitachon, we have to learn how to make splits. Although there's excitement in the air, of course, there's also still, I think, a lot, I don't know what's going on exactly, but there's a lot of fear. I think there's still, people are still running to bomb shelters. It's not Pashut. People are getting hurt, so, we have to balance the two. You're allowed to be excited about what's going on, but you also have to feel the pain of what's going on. It's not simple. We might have a free Purim, they might not, but we don't know. We're worrying about the snow on the ground, and they might be in bomb shelters. So in our program that we've been dealing with, the Bitachon process, working on Das, giving up our Das for Kodesh Baruch Hu. So I think something is very important to speak about, as we have in the past, but I think now, in the context of what we're learning, and also within the context of what's going on in the world, we could try to make, I think, maybe a strong point, maybe not. Maybe we'll have a machlokas about it, but I think it's the ends. So we're in the middle here. We're really in the middle between a person who's working on his own das, and which a person should become a strong, healthy, intellectually thinking, self-sufficient type person, and at the same time giving over his das to Kodesh Baruch Hu, to know that really all he can do with all of his intellect and all of his emotion and all of his power and all of his influence, whatever a human being has, what can he muster, it's only in the world of Hishtadlus. In the world of what actually happens, the bitachon, right, the trust in what is going to be, that he doesn't really have any choice, and he can't affect anything b'maisa. He could bring himself to a certain point, and then Kadosh Baruch Hu decides. It can look very, very close. He can, pick up the spoon and put the chalent to his mouth, so it really looks like it's him, right, feeding himself the chalent. But we know, as we've learned in the past, years ago, how many things can happen in between, and how many things have had to happen to even allow you to get that spoon of chalent into your mouth. And really, it's a Kodesh Baruch Hu. It's a combination. It's man's ishtadlus, which he wants us to have, plus it's a Kodesh Baruch Hu's ultimate plan, decision, and process. So in the numbers that we're holding here, 6, 7, really, I don't mean to make a joke, but we're really holding right now 6 and 7 here. That's number 6 is where a person, he develops his das to the point that he understands that he himself and others are limited. And there has to be a certain reliance on a Kodesh Baruch Hu. Right? What does he rely on a Kodesh Baruch Hu for? The big things. The big miracles, the weather, when there's certain diseases. It's up to Kodesh Baruch Hu. There's nothing we can do. And therefore he is mevatel his das and allows the end result, hopefully, if he's working with bitachon, to be in a Kodesh Baruch Hu's hands, and therefore he's, to whatever degree of bitachon he has, he's calm. Whatever's going to be is going to be, and it's ultimately for the best, whatever Kodesh Baruch Hu decides that looks like. Number 7 we've been discussing is that if a person continues to develop his das Hashem, his bitachon in a Kodesh Baruch Hu, limiting his own das and knowledge, so then he can draw HaKadosh Baruch Hu, he can draw his bitachon into his decision-making process. As we discussed. Before you, instead of just waiting for miracles to happen, say, oh, that's a Kodesh Baruch Hu, that's a Kodesh Baruch Hu. When he makes his decisions of life, generally starting off the bigger ones, big, whatever it may be in Parnasa, big family decisions, he'll do his ishtadlus, but Kodesh Baruch Hu, I know it's up to you at the end of the day. It's up to you, and I'm going to try to trust you. That's number 7. And therefore, we said he doesn't have to sell himself for a job that might be too taxing for himself. It might be dangerous. Something it doesn't really go with his nitiyas, his characteristic traits that a Kodesh Baruch Hu gave him. Right? The soul that a Kodesh Baruch Hu gave each and every one of us has specific characteristic traits. And therefore, he doesn't have to sell himself and do something totally the opposite because he needs the money. Why? Because he's drawing a Kodesh Baruch Hu into his decision-making process. Right? So I, with my knowledge, am giving up my knowledge to what Kodesh Baruch Hu believes to be true. Right? That's kind of where we're holding. And that's what, like last week we discussed about the man. That each person had to walk as far as he trusted, he believed in a Kodesh Baruch Hu, that the man, right, however close or however far he believes, Kodesh Baruch Hu can make the man, that's as far as it would be. And each person only saw his own man, nobody could see the other person's man. Because the way we live in life, our perspective, our actual lenses, is based on our emunah and bitachon, and you can't see anybody else's level, and they can't see your level. Sometimes you could seem somewhat eye to eye, somewhat, but be very careful because a slight level change is very, very different. So what a person is calm with, you might be nervous with. What you might be calm with, he might be nervous with, and that's okay. Each person's their own. Don't judge yourself based on another person. Don't feel so haughty when you're so calm and they're not. Everybody is different. Now, what I was thinking this morning is what's going on right now in the world. Let's be l'maisa. So what's going on in the world? If we're Baal Emunah and Baal Bitachon, HaKadosh Baruch Hu is revealing himself by the way of destroying Rishonim, like he did in the Megillah. Right? His name is not anywhere in the Megillah. His name is not anywhere in the news. It's not anywhere, right? His name's not there. Yet, by the Megillah we know Yud Kei Vav Kei was behind the whole program. The one who allowed Haman to come to power. The one who allowed Haman to be hung in the gallows. It's Kodesh Baruch Hu the whole time, even though his name's not there. That's the point of Purim, to get to that recognition of Emunah and Bitachon. Mordechai had it the whole time. We've discussed this over the many Purims that we've learned this. And Mordechai was holding there the whole time. Esther was in between, and Klal Yisrael really had to work on themselves. And they were led by Mordechai. But so too now. I don't think it's any different. There's this Russian Marusha who's Pashat Haman, clear as day. I mean, can't deny it. And the Kodesh Baruch Hu decided the time is to kill him. Now, how did the Kodesh Baruch Hu do that? Through a whole combination of, America and Eretz Yisrael, and different bombs and different intelligence. See it like this. I want to make the point like this. When we heard what happened, okay? Those who were on Aish yesterday, Rabbi made an announcement. I mean, before, not that guy who was killed, just Stam that we started to attack. And then maybe even when you heard that this guy, whatever, Khomeini, what's his name? When he was killed, by Mincha time, that's what someone told me. So hopefully, at first glance, at first thought, it's Baruch Hashem, Kodesh Baruch Hu takes care of his enemies. And that would be great. Big miracle. Big is a big thing. Right? It's like Paro, that's like Yitzias Mitzrayim, Kriyas Yam, so I mean it's a big thing. Now this is where a a person has an Isai. Now what? You can either move forward in Emunah B'Tachon and get to level 7 and 8, which we discuss, or if you make the wrong move, you can actually move backwards. What was backwards? That I rely on man. Right? Number 5 is where a person has enough das that he knows that he can't do it himself. He needs to trust in other people to help him. 6 is where he saw the deficiencies in man, and he started to open up to a Kodesh Baruch for the big miracles. So right now we're holding by number 6. Right? If we have, some people aren't holding this at all. Some people believe that Kodesh Baruch is not involved in this, and it's just the armies. Okay, so we're not talking to them. But for uns, we believe, I think, clear, Kodesh Baruch orchestrated this to happen. Yes, I hope we're all holding by that. 6. So now we want to go to 7. We don't want to go to 5. What would be the difference? What would, pick one way. What would help us go to 7, 8, moving on in our Emunah B'Tachon? We haven't discussed the levels exactly, but drawing Kodesh Baruch Hu more into our lives in the decision-making process. And number 8 today we'll discuss the daily life. Or we might go backwards and start to see Kochi v'otzem yadi of man. So if this is the danger point. If a person, after hearing the news, all you need to know is that news. All you need to know is that Eretz Yisrael attacked, which means they're going to be attacked. We should daven for the safety of our brethren. And then we heard about the head of the snake that was killed. It's gewalt. It's a big simcha. More than that, the emes, you don't need to know. Right? What else do you really need to know? Right now we're davening for the safety of Klal Yisrael, and we're besimcha over a Kodesh Baruch Hu, the fact that he orchestrated the destruction of Haman. More than that, we don't really need to know. If you do find out more, this is the Nisayon. So now you go into the news, go into the videos, you hear about all this stuff. Now what? Where's your Emunah B'Tachon? You just believe that a Kodesh Baruch Hu you're holding, at the level you're holding at, Kodesh Baruch Hu orchestrated this whole thing. Now what? Now you start to hear the Mossad was there. You start to hear that Trump, whatever he starts to talk about, which I don't know he's going to talk about. What's the difference? Is that if you continue to involve yourself in the news and man-made news.
I hear that news. Okay, so the Mossad was there. It's also Hashem. I mean, what's the difference?
This is a Shas Nisayon. Listen.
Okay.
If a person listens to the news and he listens to what Trump says and Netanyahu and the Mossad, all these things, which all, according to the Shtadlis, that's what happened. There's no question. But what can happen if a person is sensitive? It's up to him. Everybody chooses their own. He might start to move his reliance from HaKadosh Baruch Hu towards human beings. That's what happens. The more you hear that's man-made, because of the state of our mind, and we're not yet Baal B'Tachon extraordinaire, we're still impressionable young men, right? It could. Okay. Maybe not. Maybe you're immune to that whole thing. But the more man-made things we hear, I think, can push a person to that. Because he doesn't think about a Kodesh Baruch Hu anymore. He's just thinking about all the news he hears. And a Kodesh Baruch Hu, he doesn't think about him at all. Before that, Kaval the Kodesh Baruch Hu, thank you Hashem. Right? They're going to be dancing in the street. There's going to be whole new songs about this, I'm sure. Move on. But if we hear, the more we hear, it's a Shas, we might move backwards to number 5 and say, Mossad and Netanyahu, whoever. You know what I'm saying? It's just a Shas Nisayon. I'm not pointing any fingers.
It could also be the other way, that you could hear more and then be like, wow, Hashem's even... No?
Sure, it's possible.
That's a good thing.
But a person has to be very careful. Is there a milah to that right now? Is there a milah to that?
I don't mean looking at the news.
Person has to know. You could eat healthy food, but it has just all these vitamins and minerals and all these fancy stuff they inject into food. So, let me just eat this all the time and I'll become like this superhuman being. Or you might get sick because it's injected stuff. I don't know. The question is, do we need to? Everybody does their own thing. I'm just pointing out a possible for those who are sensitive and bitachon and want to move forward. This is a Shas Nisayon for a person, I think. This happens in all areas. It happens in tragedies when you hear, I got this mussar many, many years ago. It wasn't in the context of bitachon, but it can be. That there was a certain, whatever it was, there was a certain tragedy in Klal Yisrael. And everybody knew what happened. A certain amount of people died, were killed. And then, as always, the news and the hak and all the inyanim. How did it happen? Everybody's, this person's blaming this, all that stuff. So remember the Baal Musar gave a stark Musar. He says, 10 Jews were just killed. That's all you need to know. Daven for them and their families and move on. The more you get involved, he's saying from a place of Musar, the more you get involved in that, the more you're lost, you're going to become more desensitized. But I'm speaking in more of a context of bitachon. The more you hear the detail, you're going to become more desensitized. That's just the reality. It's just gonna. What's the word? It dilutes.
So first, I was thinking you're absolutely wrong.
Yeah.
Because that's the Megillah gives you all the details of the story. But now I'm thinking you're absolutely right, because that's why the Megillah was written a year later. Mordechai and Esther said, "Pause." Like, a year has to go by till we could go back and show you all the details of. Like, see Hashem and all the details. But you can't jump into that right away.
But even that, you can read the Megillah and still not see a Kodesh Baruch Hu.
Okay.
Because, right? And first of all, there are many details that were not mentioned in the Megillah. We know from Chazal. And you can read the whole Megillah. Hashem's name is, they wrote the Megillah without a Kodesh Baruch Hu because it's to teach you.
That's the point. But you can only do that
later. You get into it right now. You really lost the... Keep it that it was a Kodesh Baruch Hu and move on. Move on. That's each person's choice. Just something that's current events now. Bitachon is very, very sensitive. Bitachon is a very sensitive inyan. You know, we're talking about daily. This isn't because we want to move on, not from the big miracles. We want to move on from that. So really, what we're holding right now. So I'm going to make sure this is not destroying this. Okay, so go. Yeah. What we're holding right now, now we're at 7. So we read, let me just read the English again, just because we were discussing it, but if his understanding of God develops further, then he will rely on him, the Kodesh Baruch Hu, of course, even for matters regarding which he can possibly help himself through his own efforts. So now I, with my own das, think that I could choose a job, I could go to this doctor, I could do something with my das, my understanding, but yet, I know, das, that a Kodesh Baruch Hu really runs the show. Not just the big miracles, but really everything. And therefore, let me be smart with my das and know I don't know. I know, therefore I do ishtadlus. I don't know, and I give up the full reins of effect and emotional attachment to results to a Kodesh Baruch Hu. I detach myself from emotional attachment to results of whatever, myself. That was confusing. But I drop, right? That's the point. Menuchas hanefesh. We want to get to menuchas hanefesh. Drop any emotional attachment to results, because that's up to Kodesh Baruch Hu, and it's always for the best. So always be calm in whatever happens as much as possible. For example, if you can possibly obtain sustenance through dangerous means, or with strenuous work that tires out the body, he will not engage in those means due to trust in God, that he will sustain him through easier means. Kodesh Baruch Hu runs the world. He gave me a certain tchunas hanefesh. What's good for me, what's not good for me. I'm trying to connect myself to him. I believe that he runs the world. He runs who I am. I have to get a job. I need parnasa. I need to do something in this world to be tested, etc., etc., etc. And I need a job. But I don't have to sell myself and kill myself for money, because there's a Bari Olam who I trust will give you something closer. Don't pigeonhole yourself too narrow, too mitzuntzam. Closer to what I'm connected with. If over time, he's not getting it, maybe I do have to widen my scope. But that only comes because I believe that a Kodesh Baruch Hu wants me to widen my scope, and you always bring him into every decision-making process. That's the goal. Now, we discussed again, that was the Indian of the month. I keep trying to play it back and forth. Number 6 is Kriyas Yamsuf and Eser Makos. Number 7, decision-making is the month. But now go to number 8. Im techzak hakaroso belukim yoser, yoshev bitchonu elov bechol hasibos. Hakosha mehen v'hakala v'chavin b'yisasko bahen la'avodas elukim v'lishor mitzvos. If his understanding of God develops even further, more das Hashem, less das of himself, meaning in the effect of things, then he will turn to rely on him regarding all the means, both the difficult as well as the easy. When engaging in them, he will have the intention that he's doing so as part of his service of God and to observe his commandments. So what I understand, it could be difference of opinions, but I understand from this, number 8, is that not only does this person draw HaKadosh Baruch Hu, that belief that he runs and affects everything, more than just the big things in life, and the decision-making process, which is before getting in the nitty-gritty in the day-to-day. But now number 8 is, I'm bringing HaKadosh Baruch Hu in the day-to-day. During the means, whatever I chose in number 7 with HaKadosh Baruch Hu, whether it's a job, whether it's a school, whether it's an eating with the kids, whatever I chose with HaKadosh Baruch Hu, listen, I have this Indian over here that we need to work out. I know it's going to be a combination of my ishtadlus and, of course, you doing what you do. Help me make the right decision. And you make that right decision. Or you make a decision. And you're calm with it because, right? For example, people, you just sent me something. There are people right now in bomb shelters. People in bomb shelters. They don't have to. There's many people who choose not to. Because, like, what's the odds anyway? Or whatever it may be. But they chose to go to... Though those who are running to the bomb shelters are scared. There are actual bombs. We can't even fathom what these things are. They're shooting. They're scared. 100%. Nothing wrong with that. It's not a lack of bitachon. When bombs are falling, it's okay to be scared. So you do your ishtadlus. What's the ishtadlus? Like Yaakov Avinu did his ishtadlus when he was scared. Open psukim. So you go to the bomb shelter. Now, in the bomb shelter, the hope is that a person says, listen, I did my ishtadlus. I believe in Kodesh Baruch Hu. I trust in him. Now it's up to him. I did my part. I'm there. Now, if he can, we're not judging anybody, but hopefully he can let go now. Now he can be calm in that place. Maybe even calm down other people, his children, or other people there who are not so calm. Because he has the emunah bitachon and the Kodesh Baruch Hu, that whatever happens is for the best. I think that's the goal.
It's very hard.
100% very hard.
Because when you're in a bomb shelter, you tend to rely on the bomb shelter.
Even in there, you still have to,
relying on the concrete.
But that person then, he might be scared, nervous. Right? The person who's relying on the concrete,
very calm.
If he is, they're great.
It's battle tested. They drop bombs on top of this bomb shelter 10 times and it's still good.
Is that true? Is that really?
I'll tell you, why not? It's a bomb shelter.
I think these missiles, if it hits direct, doesn't matter.
Whatever.
Either way, whatever.
Go for shrapnel.
Whatever.
You still. The point is,
it's easy. It's very easy to rely on what I can touch and feel and see, right?
But that's always going to be limited. For example, let's say right now, people could be in a bomb shelter,
right?
And they'll still be nervous. What if this bomb shelter doesn't hold? Therefore, they're going to be nervous. Again, we're not judging them. I'd probably, who knows what we'd be.
That guy's in a better place than the guy who's like, I'm safe, and deludes himself to think
that might
safe
be
because of the.
Fine, I'm talking about the guy in the bomb shelter. Right? The goal, hopefully, is that then he did his ishtadlus, meaning this is all I got. I can't run to the sophisticated bomb shelter that's 60 miles away that we all know about. This is what we got. This is where I live. I can't make myself crazy. So we run into this place, and the hope is that now you did your ishtadlus, you're relying on Kodesh Baruch Hu. If you're relying on the bomb shelter, you might still be nervous, and that might trick people. But if you truly rely on Kodesh Baruch Hu, you could be calm in that situation. Could be, and hopefully you might assume everything will be okay. You could also be calm if you rely on the bomb shelter, saying this thing is battle, no problem, we're okay. But you may not, because since it's physical, it's limited, like the entire Sefer of Chovos Levavos. The alchemist, he was relying on the gold. Everything is limited, so he's never really b'minuchas hanefesh. So even a bomb shelter, or in our lives, a sure bet in investing, a sure this, a sure that. We did the ishtadlus, but once you start to rely on it, you're never really calm. The second it doesn't go exactly according to the way that you projected it, right? One change in the projected, projection. Guys, you don't with English. I don't speak English anymore. You're going to get all nervous because it's not according to your plan. See, when you rely on a Kodesh Baruch Hu, it's a hard avoda. But the more you can rely on him, you did your styles, and then you let it go. You shouldn't even look at the projections, really. You shouldn't even look where it's going. If it's already, unless you can make different changes in Hishtadlus. But if you set something in motion and you can't now change it, don't even look. What's the tachlis? Once you, right? Because every moment's another shas nisoyin of bitachon. So if you really trust in the Kodesh Baruch Hu, send it up and move on. And whatever Wherever the cards fall, the cards fall. But if you're going to stay on top of it, then you're regressing back numbers to your own self, to then to other people. We don't want to regress. Make a move, make the right move. Emunah, Bitochen, Hishtadlis, and then move on. Go to the next. It's the same thing we were talking about before. You might be shooting yourself in the foot.
It's like a farmer that stands over a seed in the ground. It's like, walk. They don't do that.
Similar thing.
Plant the seed and you move on.
You move on. How? What are you supposed to do? Okay. So now we're number 8. So now we're in it. Okay. So you made the decision. Now there's another nisayon that while we're going on, right? You have a person who runs the bomb shelter. I don't even want to use that example because it's not so practical for us. We need some more practical. They have to deal with what they have to deal with. We have no idea what that even means. But let's say a person. Let's use the example we had last week with the who said the example with the hotel waiting for the room. Eddie, right? Remember the example? Someone contacted me afterwards. He really appreciated that. It really, right? Eddie was going with his wife to a hotel. It was a conference or something, and they said they miscommunication. They didn't book the room. There might not be a room in this hotel for them, right? And so he said he was staying calm, right? And he was getting tested a little bit, but he stayed calm. So Baruch Hashem ended up being that they had a room for him, and he won because he was calm. He ended up getting the room, which even if he didn't get the room, he said, so he'd go down the block. And he won because he had bitach and he was calm. But I said, what would happen if a bolvan would come right after him? So he's standing on the side with his wife, waiting for them to find on the computers that they have a room for him, because it's so difficult to know. And this other guy comes and says, no, where's my room? And they say, we're not sure, miscommunication, we're not sure if we have room for you. And he goes berserk and goes crazy. Him and his wife start yelling and carrying on. We're going to sue you, we're going to slander you, we're going to go crazy. And they're like, oh, yeah, we have a room. And you know what? It's the penthouse suite, and it's on us. We're going to bump it up. I didn't say that last week. Let's bump it up a little bit. It's the penthouse suite, and it's going to be the same price, or whatever, that it was supposed to be. Here you go. And now you have Eddie on the side with his wife, looking at this. Like, oh my gosh. If I would have done that, I would have gotten that. So what I did, the bitachon thing, is for losers. That's what a person could think. But first of all, as we said last week, it's a line that you should always remember. Right? Nice guys may finish last, but they remain nice guys. So Baal bitachon may finish last in the outcome, but they stay Baal bitachon. Over the long haul, a Baal bitachon wins. Yeah, in this one situation, it looked like you lost. First of all, you didn't. Because in every situation, every nisayon where there's a bitachon involved, did you have bitachon or not is the win or the lose. Not did you get the room or not get the room. Adrabah, not to get the room and have bitachon and be calm, you're the biggest winner. Lutzer, he didn't get the room, and you still stayed calm. That means what can throw you off in life? You trust that the Kodesh Baruch Hu this is what he wants from you. You're a winner of life. Josh was just saying, he didn't know he's not paying attention to the weather, so he got nailed by this big storm. He wasn't prepared for it. So some people would say, oh, it's okay. So from now on, I got to listen to the weather. Listen, that was a big storm. It hit me. It caught me off guard. I didn't have enough toilet paper. I don't know what's going to be. That's it. I'm listening to the weather every single day religiously because I don't know. Maybe a sandy, maybe a this, maybe a 6 inches, maybe an 8 inches. That was going to be. Perm, I got to prepare. So now every single day, now he's going to be nervous. He's looking at the weather. He's making assumptions and that. Or you say you didn't lose. You had bitachon. For whatever reason, he decides he doesn't want to look at the weather. Kept him calm. Over the long haul of all weather patterns throughout his life, he's going to be a winner. How many times are people going to get nervous about some weather pattern that never actually happens? And he's not, because he didn't know about it. This happens all the time. Right? People were still nervous. I don't know, is this one going to be, not going to be? But when we choose bitachon again and again, it gets testy as we follow through. After you make that first choice, you're not done yet. Choosing is number 7. The real avoda is number 8. Now you have to live according to the choice you made. Number 7 is shadas and bitachon. And every single second that things don't go according to what you might have wanted, it's going to be a test of, is it what I want, and therefore I'm nervous, therefore I got to get out of this, it was a bad choice? Or, no. We made this choice. Kadosh Baruch Hu, this is what he wants, and I'm going to stay calm because I don't know exactly what he wants. Let me ride it out. Just imagine a simple example. A guy does the number 7, he works at the Kodesh Baruch Hu, he decides to make an investment, a stock, a real estate, whatever it is. He makes it, and he's all ready. Kodesh Baruch Hu, that's it. This is it. Kodesh Baruch Hu is going to help me make it big from this investment. He's all ready to go. He has bitachon, and then it starts to slowly go down. Day 1, day 2, day 3. No. It's okay. I got this. Kodesh Baruch Hu, we discussed this. We're good. We did Ishtadlis, we did bitachon. It's going to be okay. I trust you. Whatever the outcomes are, I trust you. Day 4, day 5, day 6, it's still going down. The news comes out, Bloomberg News, whatever it is. This investment's not going to do well. Now he's getting more nervous. I got to get out. And he gets out. He sells the whole thing. He can't get back into it. And then day 7, day 8, it goes back up all the way to where he had projected it would go. But he got nervous. This is human life. This is life. But when he made that decision with the Kodesh Baruch Hu, what was his decision? Every single second, I'm gonna check it and reanalyze the situation. So what did you give to a Kodesh Baruch Hu? You didn't give anything to him, really. That means 7 was a sham. That was not. You didn't really make a decision with him. Like Kodesh Baruch Hu, I'm gonna do this. Can you just make it work? But, right? That's why 2 points. Number 1, we have to let things go depending on the situation. You can let things go. Don't be on top of it, because then your man-madeness, hishtadlis, confusions are going to come in. Amalek's going to come in. Asher korcha b'derech. They're going to cool off your fire of emunah. So that's number 1. We have to be very careful. So he says over here. Number 8, if his understanding of God develops even further, then he will turn to rely on him regarding all the means, both the difficult as well as the easy. So when you're in the hishtadlis, the weiter, after the decision-making process, and now, of course, you still have to do hishtadlis in life. You have to go to work, or whatever it is. You have to go to the doctors, or whatever it may be. You still have to do hishtadlis. But you're always, while you're engaging in the means, when engaging in them, you're in it now. You're in number 7. He will have the intention that he's doing so as part of his service of God, and to observe his commandments. What is that? Well, I'm going to work. What do you mean? Part of service of God and observe his commandments? I'm going to work here. I'm an accountant. I'm a lawyer. I'm a doctor. What's the understanding? As we've discussed, bitachon is not a one-moment choice and you move on. Why is anybody going to work? So Kodesh Baruch Hu wants this person to actualize his best self, and that's going to come through the tests of work. Yes? This is what we discussed a long time ago. So when a person ends up going into the means, whatever the means is that he has chosen, so he's in the means. Now what's his thought process? Does he leave a Kodesh Baruch Hu now? Now let's go look at all the news. Let's talk about Trump and Netanyahu and the interest rates and the gas prices and the markets, and do we just get only involved in that and then we backtrack? Or do we understand that every single moment that we're involved in this, I'm here to serve a Kodesh Baruch Hu. How are you serving Kodesh Baruch Hu? With bitachon. Yes? We discussed, this is really a review. Right now, number 8, we're holding by Matan Torah. Kodesh Baruch Hu gives us the Torah to serve him, to follow him, to do the mitzvahs like he said. We've quoted this many times. What does the Vilna Gaon say is the tachlis of Kol Torah Kula? The Vilna Gaon in Mishlei. What? Bitachon. The whole tachlis of the Torah, all the mitzvahs that we do, all the learning, the davening, the mitzvahs, all the yom tovs, everything, is to come ultimately to an amunah, of course, and bitachon in the Kodesh Baruch Hu. Yes, to serve a Kodesh Baruch Hu. But in an overall, I do Esrog, I do Lulav, Shabbos, I do Purim. But in an overall way, why am I doing all these things? Because I believe and trust in the Kodesh Baruch Hu. So when I go to work as well, it says you should go to work. Rabbi's going to be talking about that, right? So You do it with him, you do it with the Kodesh Baruch Hu, you do it without the Kodesh Baruch Hu. You do it with the Torah, you do it without the Torah. The Voda is in our mind. It's a mind thing. To continually draw Kodesh Baruch Hu down into your means every single day. I don't think it's not Chiddush. No? Yeah? That's what he's saying. If his understanding of God develops even further, then he will turn to rely on him. Rely on him means whatever happens, I trust that this is exactly what's supposed to go on. He will turn to rely on him, bitachon, regarding all the means, both the difficult as well as the easy. When engaging in them, he's engaging, he's doing the shtadlis. He will have the intention that he's doing so as part of the service of God and to observe his commandments. So while he's engaging, he's still continuing the shtadlis and bitachon combination. That's the tachlis of Kol Torah Kula. That's Mount Torah. After the Mount. To live day to day through our avodah, Avodas Hashem, and work is no different. Work is not Avodas Hashem. Work is also Avodas Hashem. What's the difference? Who's the one who gave you the netiyah to go to that work? Kodesh Baruch Hu. Who's the one who decided that you have to go to work? Well, if Kodesh Baruch Hu, if he wanted to give you all the money in the world, you wouldn't have to go to work. But he decides not to give you all the money. Tells you. So where's the head? But if we engage in the means, right? We made a decision with the Kodesh Baruch Hu that this job is for me now. Day to day, you're just using your own das. You're relying on the boss for the paycheck, your own intellect, your own emotions. You've moved backwards. It's like watching the news. That means you've dropped the Kodesh Baruch Hu. You say, Kodesh Baruch Hu, I got this now. Okay, we made the decision and move on. That's kfira. That's exactly what the tachlis of Kol Torah Kula is. Is that no? What does the Ramban say? Ramban at the end of both, famous Ramban, you have to learn, especially by Pesach time. We've mentioned it before. Ramban goes on and says that a Kodesh Baruch Hu doesn't reveal himself in every single generation openly, like he did by the Esher Malchus. The point is that from the Nisim HaGluyim, says the Ramban, from the Nisim HaGluyim, you're supposed to come to believe in the Nisim Ketanim. And everything that Moshe says is emes, and if you deny everything, you're a kofar. So from the fact that a Kodesh Baruch Hu, if you're holding this level of Emunah B'tachon, from the fact that you see that a Kodesh Baruch Hu was allowing for the past 2 years the death, the destruction of the entire world of enemies that we've had, if you see that as Nisim Guluyim, I hope you do, well then draw that down. Don't go backwards with the news and finding out all this stuff that you're going to lose your Emunah because it's man-made. No. Yeah, you could bring Kodesh Baruch Hu into it, but it's a Shasti sign. It's not, you could choose. I don't think it's Kedai. Or you can move forward. You know, if a Kodesh Baruch Hu is the one who did that, and how much planning, and the 50 years of planning that it took to get this to be done, every single step of the way was only because a Kodesh Baruch Hu decided it should be. Well, then in my own life right now as well, when I get a parnasa, when I do this, when I do that, and I do this Shasti sign, Kodesh Baruch Hu also is the one who runs this, and it's also been his plan for 50 years beforehand. Move forward into the day-to-day. Piggyback off the Nisim Guliyim. Esher Malchus, Chris Helmsley was supposed to move us into the Mon. The Mon was supposed to move us into Mount Torah. Mount Torah was supposed to move us into Eretz Yisrael, where there's not going to be any Nisim Guliyim. No more Mon anymore. You have to take what you've learned and move on into Eretz Yisrael and build it up. So I think that's that's what we're trying to do over here. Move forward.
So Eretz Yisrael is number 8?
No, we're going to move on. We're going to say it's more. We'll move on. It's really going to be more number 9. But move forward, which means more God mindfulness, meaning fill your mind with God more, with the Kodesh Baruch Hu more, however you want to do that, and less man-made stuff, because that's just dangerous. You could do whatever you want. Anybody could choose. You have your bechira chavshas to choose whatever you want to think about. But if you think more about a Kodesh Baruch Hu, then you will move forward. You draw more into your life. You'll be more calm. You'll be more happy in the day-to-day. You won't get thrown off by the little things. Or you can move backwards, and then you'll only once in a while see a Kodesh Baruch Hu on the big picture, and then you'll still try to have him, be mitzamtzim himself to what you want and what you desire. And only when it goes your way with your projections, then you'll be happy, and then you'll have him with you. But when it doesn't go your way, you'll drop him for the next God, or whatever it is that you think. I think that's what we're trying to do over here. That's what the whole Sefer was teaching us, but now we're through this program of das, of bitachon, of knowing I don't know. We're moving on and trying to draw a Kodesh Baruch Hu into every single moment, whether it's easy or hard. If it's easy, thank you Hashem for making it easy, right? If it's hard, Kodesh Baruch Hu, I know that this is an Isayin, but it's for me to grow. You chose the right parnasa. Number 7. Now, day to day, month to month, it's not so easy. When a paycheck doesn't come, it's not easy. This is hard, but I'm not going to lose my bitachon on this. So Kodesh Baruch Hu, I'm going to hold on to you even more. You build more bitachon muscles when it's harder, not when it's easier. We don't look for it to be hard. When a Kodesh Baruch Hu decides for it to be hard, hold on tight. Hold on tight. It's not an easy road. But if you hold on, you climb to the top of the mountain, you come out a strong person. All right, Mr. We'll continue next week.